Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Had a mail call today. Had a new fragrance come in. I've been wearing it. It's time for a first impression. It's the new YSL Y EDT 2022 edition. I guess that's what we're gonna call it. Everybody's gotta hop on the reformulating a fragrance and keeping everything just about the same and then slapping a new year at the end train. It's kind of a long name for a train, but what else are you gonna call it? So in today's video, I'm gonna show you guys the presentation on the new YSL Y. I'm gonna break the fragrance down, let you know how it's different compared to the original, and also let you know which one is better. So let's jump into it. This new YSL Y EDT 2022 version did just become available in the US, and I'll link it in the description below, along with the original Y EDT, which is now discontinued. So if you were one of those people that loved the original Y, maybe you want to scoop up an extra bottle or something, because it does appear to be going the way of the dinosaur. The original YSL Y never was quite the seller that Yves Saint Laurent was hoping for. Y Eau de Parfum is. That one sells great. And you can tell because they pimp it. They put that out everywhere. They put advertisements for it, they push it. The original Y is like redheaded stepchild or something. And then of course there's always the possibility that this is being reformulated and changed because one of the ingredients or more in the original is now banned, which happens every so often in the world of fragrances. Regardless though, we have a new iteration, whether it's because of reformulation needs or because the original wasn't selling, or both of these coming together like a hand in a glove. Well, we need to reformulate it, and the sales kind of suck. The timing checks out. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that presentation. So here we have the box, and this is about the only real change made to the presentation from the original to this 2022 version. And the way you can tell this is one of the newer bottles is because it has that blue YSL on the background of the front of the box. The original was just all black. So on the front here, you got the name of the house, name of the fragrance, size and concentration like always, YSL up at the top of the box. On the back, you're gonna find your ingredient information, and on the bottom, you'll find your batch code. Batch code here is 38UD02W, which makes this a December 2021 bottle. And that makes sense because they need to make all of the bottles, they need to have them ready to go and macerated before they release them, so it makes sense that this would be right at the tail end of 2021 and then be released into 2022. And here we have the bottle, the exact same style, pretty much everything the exact same as the original Eau de Toilette. You have YSL on top of the cap. The cap does click into place. On the bottom, you have a sticker with your batch code. And let's blast a couple sprays out of here for you. Pretty nice. And the coloration on the fragrance seems to be ever so slightly different, but that could be because my bottle of YSL Y, the original, is older, obviously. So here they are side by side. It's a very slight difference. My old bottle of YSL Y is kind of busted up. I knocked off the Y. It takes a special kind of Momo to do that, but I pulled it off. So I guess the biggest question here is YSL Y Eau de Toilette 2022 pretty much the exact same as the original, or is it different? Pretty much the most important question anytime anything is reformulated or re-released as something new. And I've seen some people say it is the exact same. I will tell you guys, in my experience wearing them side by side today and checking multiple times, reapplying multiple times, they are not the same. When you have them on side by side and you're checking back and forth, you know, you spray them on at the same time and take notes and all of that, they're really obviously different. And just to make sure I wasn't insane, I had my wife check them out, didn't tell her what was what. I just said, hey, smell this. Hey, smell this. Tell me what you think about them. And after she told me, I said, well, do you think they smell pretty much the exact same or no? And without a beat, she said, oh, no, they're not the same at all. And that was with her going in completely blind, so it kind of helped validate everything for me, I guess. Now, obviously, these will be intertwined. This is Y Eau de Toilette 22. This is Y Eau de Toilette 2017. They didn't change the name up, and that's for a reason. So you can still tell that this new Y Eau de Toilette is part of the Y line. It fits right in there like it should. So how are they different? Well, Y Eau de Toilette 2022 smells a lot smoother off the top. That aldehydic blast that you get in the 2017 release that is smoothed out substantially. It's not as sparkly, fuzzy, sharp, however you want to describe that aldehydic blast in the original. It is nowhere near that prominent in this one. Also, the bergamot in the opening comes through a little bit clearer in the new Y Eau de Toilette 2022. I'd also say the new one smells a little bit sweeter off the top as compared to the original. And when you put the two side by side, you smell them right at the opening and into the mid, I think the new one smells better. It's more pleasant, less harsh, a little bit less chemically, if you want to call it that. Now, I never hated Y Eau de Toilette. It was never my favorite in the line once they came out with flankers, but I never hated it. I understood what it was doing, what it was going for, and I think it did that pretty well, which is being a great casual or office fragrance made for versatility and mass appeal. It did that really well, and so if that's all you care about, you don't care about anything else, Y Eau de Toilette, super solid, the original one. But when you put it up against all the other blue type fragrances out there, it didn't maybe stack up quite as well. As it goes through the mid, the lavender comes out in this 2022 version, smells nice. It's a little bit less aromatic than the original. It's less herbal, and that vanilla in the new version carries over into the dry down. The vanilla is never overloaded, but it does lend that sweetness that I mentioned earlier. So you get this nice, smooth, and subtle sweetness from that vanilla pretty much from the opening into the dry down. I never really pick up incense at all in this one. And I'd also say the new one comes across a little bit more woody into the dry down than the original one does, and it still has that ambroxany sort of undertone. But again, with less of that aldehydic twinge, which you can still pick up in the dry down in the original. I would also say that into the dry down, these two do smell more similar than in the opening and the mid. In the opening and the mid, there's a bigger difference between the two, but once you hit that far dry down, they start to smell more similar. In terms of performance, they seem pretty well matched, pretty even actually. So if you were hoping that this new Y Eau de Toilette was going to be just a crazy, huge beast mode performer that chokes everybody out with a couple sprays, probably not gonna be happy. But understanding that this is Y Eau de Toilette, you know, reimagined, tweaked, and changed, you probably shouldn't expect it to be a humongous performer anyway. Like I said, performance-wise, so far seems to be about on par with the original, but today is the first day that I've had the fragrance. So like always with first impressions and performance and all that, take it with a grain of salt, but it doesn't seem to be noticeably that much stronger or weaker for that matter. And when would you use it? Pretty much the same time you'd use the original one. Gonna be more of a spring, summertime fragrance, early fall also, leans daytime over nighttime use. Great casually to the office. I mean, it's got a lot of versatility. You can pull it off about anywhere. Now I know with this being a Y Eau de Toilette reimagining, rework, reformulation, it's not gonna catch a lot of love initially. A lot of people are gonna crap on it, just like happened with the original. A lot of people didn't like that and they crapped on it. But I think on the whole, this is an improvement. I would much rather wear the new version versus the older version because those aldehydes are reined in considerably and it smooths everything out. It makes it smell like it's put together a little bit better. I like the touch of vanilla. It's not overdone. It's subtle. Like I said, you can pick it up. That sweetness is definitely amplified here compared to the original, but it's not heavy-handed or in your face or bubblegummy. And as I mentioned, dialing back the aromatics a little bit makes it come across less bitter. Not that the original was overly bitter, but that aromatic herbal feel that it picked up heading through the mid, some people didn't like that very much, and that's been kind of scrubbed clean, you could say. It is not as fresh, it's not as bracingly fresh as the original, but overall it is still a very fresh fragrance. And on the whole, I think that this version, the new version, works in better with where the Y line has gone since the first one came out. So this one does make more sense now. The tweaks are subtle, but you can pick them up. They're definitely there. There is a difference between the two. And if you spray them on side by side, there's really no arguing that, I feel like. Maybe if you grab it and spray it on a tester strip or spray it on your skin really quickly in a store or something like that, and you take off and smell it, you might think, oh, it's the same, but it's really not. You need to be able to spray them on side by side, and then you'll go, oh, okay, yeah, there's differences here. On the whole, I think it's an improvement. I like this one better. Do I think this new one is better than Y Eau de Parfum or Y Le Parfum? No, I don't. I like those better. I think they're still considerably above this one. I think this could be a great workhorse sort of fragrance, you know, everyday sort of scent, especially going to the office through spring and summer. My wife likes it a lot too. I think with what they had to go with, they did pretty well, because they tweaked it and changed it in a way that I think improves it without just completely doing away with the original and doing something completely different. Like I said, it still slots in with the Y line of fragrances really well. So there we go. Those are my thoughts on the new YSL Y Eau de Toilette 2022. Rest in peace, Y 2017. We hardly knew you. And even though I don't really want to, I feel like I should buy a bottle of this just because mine is kind of ugly. Maybe I'll get like a little 60 ml for the collection. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Thanks for hanging with me today. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.